All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Tough Lift Podcast. Today's going to be a different type of episode today. We have episode 27. And today we have two individuals here representing an app. And no, it's not a sponsored app. I'm not being paid yet. I'm not that big of a deal. These gentlemen, Nate and Murph, are the representative bodies. And I won't say inventors and creators because I don't know who actually did what, but we're going to find that out. But they are the great minds behind the app and website Lift Oracle. If you guys know what that is. If you don't, all right, you've been living behind a rock or under a rock or somewhere with a rock, because this app makes your life a hell of a lot easier at weightlifting meets and or following data for your athletes and your teams and your clubs and finding anything you need without having to log in and go through a huge complicated process that you do right now to do anything on the USAW website. Not bashing USAW, but I want to be able to pull that shit up quick and easy, and they found a solution. So, first of all, guys, welcome to the show. How is your day?
Thanks for having us. Awesome.
Yeah. On a Saturday, did you guys coach today or no?
I did.
They did.
Coach trained a little bit.
Nice. Excellent. Excellent. So, guys, for those that don't know you, all right, let's go ahead. Let's just do some quick breakdowns because I always like to kind of do an intro of who everyone is. Obviously, the app cannot talk for itself. The great wizard. Does the wizard have a name, by the way?
He's the Oracle. Yeah.
He's just the Oracle? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. One of you guys can go first, and let's just do an intro of who you are, how you got into weightlifting, and a little background on you.
I'll go first. Yeah, my name's Murph, Murph Devon, and I got into weightlifting via CrossFit in the early. Well, I started CrossFit in 2008 when I was in college, playing rugby in college, and then switched to weightlifting when I couldn't. My academic schedule couldn't match with the team schedule. I was coaching to pay for a gym membership, as many people do, and got into weightlifting. And there was no weightlifting at all in Milwaukee at the time. This was probably 2010, 2011, 2012. So I remember being the only person from UW Milwaukee at University Nationals, and it's like 2012 or 2013. And then that spring was started Milwaukee Barbell. It's a weightlifting club in town. At the time, it was the only USAW club in Milwaukee. And like many other weightlifting CrossFit hybrid operations, I started out coaching in a number of different gyms, CrossFit gyms in the area. One gym ended up being a very good host, and we have a long-term partnership with them, Brew City CrossFit. So I coached weightlifting full-time for a number of years there. That's where met Nate. Nate came in as a young athlete, and we've had many adventures together over the years. And then that chapter of my life kind of reached a natural conclusion just as Nate was getting into coaching more. And so it's like 2017, 2018, he took the reins as head coach, and I've sort of been in the back, operator, still doing like merch marketing, helping with meets, that kind of thing. And he's been sort of taking the reins, taking the baton as the coach. And then, this last year, we've also kind of gotten our hands dirty in the tech side and built this app.
Awesome. So did you? I always like to ask, when you made the shift, CrossFit to weightlifting, what do you think that was? Was that just burned out, or?
Yeah, I think is part of that because I was in grad school at the time and working, and it was right at the end of when CrossFit was pretty accessible in terms of being competitive, and I quickly realized I was playing pretty high level travel club sports in college, so I was like an okay athlete, but also like I'm 6'2", lanky. I quickly realized CrossFit was not going to be a viable, like, long-term competitive outlet for me. And
you probably played on a rower, right? Like,
yeah, I can rip some calories for sure. And well, the irony is that, I'm not built for weightlifting either. But I love the honing the craft, and it's
Yeah.
Strip back, simplicity, snatch, clean and jerk, you've got your accessories, etc. But it's rewards diligence and discipline, and like kind of it's the epitome of the journey is the goal. So I was very, very attracted to weightlifting in that regard. And yeah, that's sort of what motivated the switch, and the fact that it was sort of an, independent sport. And at the time I was all self-coached and, seminars and, like taking the Cal Strength YouTube for culture and that kind of thing, because it was sort of like before Instagram was big too. It was like Cal Strength YouTube, maybe some old Iron Mind videos, and otherwise that was it.
Yeah. I always find that interesting, because it's like that was kind of like my shifting time as well. Is like there's always like, okay, we're gonna go from the physically abusive to the mentally abusive. That's good. A healthy habit to skip to.
Right.
All right, so Nate, let's hear yours, man.
So I got cut from the freshman basketball team, and my high school had a powerlifting team. So I did equipped powerlifting for 4 years in high school. Got obsessed with that. I just remember watching like the compilation videos of like powerlifters, and in there you'd see like a random person, you'd see Klokov or something, and then you'd be like,
We've
who's this guy?
all seen these same videos.
Yes.
Yeah. Where you're like, you look at who the lifters are, and then you find out that they're like not just powerlifters, and then you find the weightlifting, and you're like, oh my goodness, what are these people doing? So I did powerlifting in high school, and kind of knew in the back of my head, like, I want to try out these other movements. They look so cool. And I think I did like an equipped meet summer after I graduated high school. And the dudes that are good at powerlifting are so short. And I just remember being like, I don't have the body for this. Like, weightlifting, you can get away with being a little lankier. And I knew I wanted to do that. So after that, found Milwaukee Barbell, and then kind of have trained ever since. So competed nationally.
We're glossing over. He's modest. I'll speak for him.
Yeah, go ahead. It's national, like it's gonna be you or me.
yeah. It has to be said. So in high school, his powerlifting career was pretty prolific. National champion powerlifter. I think you're in the Wisconsin Powerlifting Hall of Fame or something.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly what it is, but and then so pedigree of strength sports kind of coming into weightlifting, which of course is any weightlifting coach's dream, where strength takes a long time to develop, and
the base is already
phenomenal base. And in weightlifting, it was junior Pan Ams, junior worlds, many American Opens, nationals. My personal highlight of his weightlifting career that I was with him was when he won 2016 University Nationals. And that was
up a weight class too.
Went up a weight class, took the gold.
Now he wants to talk about it. He didn't want to talk about it at all.
Yeah, and then he's like, wait, that was pretty great.
The skinny tall kid went up a weight class and he wants to discuss it.
Yeah, well, and then we almost missed our flight home because he couldn't produce a sample.
Nice. Excellent.
But,
I was going to say, that was very subtle for what I know you for as a lifter, but sure, we'll go with that. This is Nate, and his name's Nate. All right, we'll move on.
Right. We can pull up his stats later.
Yeah. Just Google Nate, the weightlifter. So I've always personally heard awesome things about you guys up there. I have not had, unfortunately, the time to head up there and do anything up there, actually. The last time I was up there was a kid fishing. So if that gives you any time frame of how long it's been since I was in that part of the Midwest. But obviously I have friends up there. Julie's up there, who is one of my old athletes and a huge mentor to me. Pretty much the only reason I got my degree, amongst other monumental life parts. She was Oakley's, my son's first babysitter. So very, very good friend. Highly recommended Murph for you. So if you end up looking, she did fantastic. I know where to find her. I wanted to get you guys on because, as we were saying, like, you guys have created this app And I wasn't like that early to it, but the second I heard about it, I was like, yes, I want to know. I want to know more. I don't even remember who. I think it was Julie that told me about it, maybe. And she was the first one that told me about it. But like, I'm one of those coaches there. I'm always on my phone getting numbers and trying to track that type of shit mid meet, or like if I don't have my notes on me, I'm doing it, trying to get it quickly, and it's just a hassle. And it's not like, I'm not going to go into the reasons why it is. Like they don't have control over it. But the app solved a problem. And that's the reason I reached out to you guys, is because like, I know people love to bitch, but it's very rarely do we see people bitch and then also find a solution. You guys actually came out and you found a solution, and that solution was Lift Oracle. And that's why I invited you onto the show. I wanted to get it talked about. I wanted to get you guys exposure for all 3 listeners I fucking have, so they better download the app, especially if they're coaches. But you guys solved the problem, all right, of effectively a multitude of things. And I want you guys to talk on like, how did this thing come to be? Why did we make it? And what was the reason?
I can start on this. So I remember it was probably February of last year. Nate and I were just shooting the shit at the gym on a Saturday morning. I do a lot of programming for work, and Nate was getting into programming, learning JavaScript himself. And so we were talking about how we were doing with that and reminiscing at the same time about, do you remember the website Oli Stats?
Yep.
We're all kind of children of our weightlifting era, right? So this is 2013, 2015 type.
It was outstanding.
It was great. Yeah. So it was this, that's very much. And, we say it on the site, this is a direct inspiration of that. The site is no more. But it was a great site. You could look up.
Can we pause right there? Have you guys tried to reach out to who ran that?
I have no idea.
I don't know how.
I just saw
because the domain doesn't exist.
I was really curious.
Anymore.
Like, is that a possibility?
Yeah, maybe we'll.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyone knows?
But so we were reminiscing about that, and then we were talking about how we're both kind of like getting into programming, and I was starting to do like little web apps as a side project outside of work, and he was doing the same. So like, well, it doesn't exist anymore. We could maybe try and bring something back, and it'd be a fun project for us to work on together. We've done a lot together over the years, but this is sort of like be a fun new way to collaborate on something. And then the real breakthrough in terms of kind of the stats and making it more coach oriented and that insights oriented, Nate and I, we had a bunch of athletes competing at the Wisconsin Spring Open. And so Nate and I were at the coaching board, and it just sort of, I remember Nate talking about, it'd be great if we could build in to look at, counting's always hard. You always go back, you recount, things like that. If I could just look at, okay, this person knowing knowing their minute maxes, knowing kind of what their completion percentages are, and even maybe knowing like, okay, if they open here, what's we call it the average reach, something like that. Nate came up with it. But if I'm going to count and I know that they have 2 attempts left, like what are they likely to get to? Are they, if 5 kilos more, 10 kilos more? Those are the sort of things. So that was the real kind of breakthrough in terms of like, this is more than just, let's look up all of our old weightlifting numbers, like totals and that. It is that, but then we wanted to kind of like make it a more useful tool for coaches too.
I love that you guys added that. It's going to be so hard for me not to talk over you guys during this podcast.
That's all good. Yeah.
Like we need to come back to that reach shit. Don't let me forget about that.
Yeah. Nate, anything you want to add on the origin story?
No, yeah, I think we just it was the first step was like getting all of being able to actually like scrape the information from USA Weightlifting. And then from there, I think it kind of organically grew, where at first it was like, do we just do something with all of this? And then we started kind of building it. And then we were like, oh, if you could have average what someone does, but if you can see actually their competition history, that might be painting like a little more of a picture. And I think there's like, as coaches, we do all these things that are very like precise. You have exact percentages, ways of progressing. but like a bunch of the things with like what jumps people take or what works in the competition scene is like kind of just guesswork in a way. Like we take a
estimation.
big guys take a 5 kilo jump, but there's no like reason for that besides like 10 is
nice,
like
nice
like
number.
yeah,
exactly,
it's a nice number. So like trying to actually, get to a point where you have like a little more color to these decisions people make in competition, or what people like observing what's happening over a bunch of data and meets and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that phrasing too. The color to it. It's not so black and white. That's good phrasing. With the usefulness of it. So did you guys, and normally like when you intended to create it, was it intended just to be a data mine point, or did you intend it for, hey, we're building this for coaches?
I think it kind of evolved into that naturally. At first, it wasn't necessarily like kind of like what Nate was saying. It was just something cool. Like Nate was like, I want to see if I can scrape bars and pull in everything. And then I do a lot of like kind of like grunt work, data processing stuff in my other jobs. Like, cool. Like if you can get it down, then I can clean it up, package it, and then add some different stats to it. We take all the attempts, but then you can calculate based off that, like miss, make.
Yeah.
Did they miss and then go up? Did they miss and repeat? And then roll that up over thousands of athletes. You can kind of, the idea was like, we maybe start to get some interesting insights there, but it kind of all evolved naturally of like just one idea after another. He's like, oh, I think I could do this. And I was like, well, maybe I can do this. And then like, and he was like, well, made sort of the first wireframe of the front end. And I was like, oh, cool. Like we could put this data in the back end. It kind of just evolved from there.
Yeah. And then Nate, what was the, I assume you're able to talk on, but like the data, getting that from, because that's what I was curious. How did you get this? Obviously, everything, I believe, since they're a public like a nonprofit, like it's all public knowledge, technically, the USAW data. But like, what was it like getting all that, and how do you get all that?
You want like fairly technical, or
like I guess, are you just not to paint like a Matrix-esque picture, but like, are you like plugging in effectively to when they input, you're just drawing it out of there, and every time it gets updated you just run the update? Or
so there's basically like a script that we run that basically like makes like how you might go to bars. It basically does all of the steps that you would do, but it's like a computer program, and then it's basically going like
Clicking
if there's meets clicking through all the pages and then like storing the actual data. And then
so did they have to give you access to it, or did you
you just go,
you're just doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I like, obviously you guys have been in the sport, we all know that like we're all, if you're old enough, you're missing meets and bars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It only goes back.
There's a lot of that.
Like there are a few like
which is upsetting because it makes me look like I have no athletic career, because I started because I opened a business and started coaching. I don't look like I ever was an athlete. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
There's a few like certain meets that just have like errors in them that you can't do anything with, and then the meets only go back to like 20.
And then the online events also you guys can't plug in, right?
I'm pretty sure the like online qualifiers do have.
Do they plug in?
They go in there as
because there's only 2 lifts technically that USAW records on those, so it's not like a 6.
I forget how it works. I think there might be just like there's like every meet like spreadsheet has like an attempt 1, 2, and 3, and then I think it just has third attempt and then best lift for like snatch and clean and jerk. So then
I'll
little
add,
blurry.
I'll add too that so the limit of bars, so you only have the last kind of decade plus as a starting point, and then if you're a local meet director, you have to manually input all your results in after the meet, and they don't always, the validation on bars side's not great, so we have to kind of throw out a lot, like hundreds of meets, because the meet director didn't record any misses. So it looks like everyone made a lift. So if you're calculating statistics off that, that's going to skew things. So that gets thrown out, or that's the most egregious one. Other frustrating things are when, like fields are kind of like date fields, or instead of the meet date, they put everyone's birthday in there. So it's like the same meet, but the meet date is like 1989, 1999, 2006. So there's some issues there. But mostly it's like if someone entered the attempts wrong, we have to throw it out, and it's okay. It sucks because, if you're the person or the meet director, you want to be able to look at your page or your meet.
Yep.
But when you're looking at 55,000 meets or whatever it is, throwing out like a couple thousand isn't the end of the world in terms of large numbers. So it sucks, but it's the best solution we have now, short of going through we don't know what the misses are. I mean, in bars, it just says everyone made something, then that's as good as garbage in, garbage out. So
yeah, it makes me, I think it's a constant reminder that I am never going to do Pedro's job, because I don't, I would lose my mind at those people. I'd be like, what do you mean? It says birthday. Just put the birthday there. Why did you mess that up? So mad shout out and respect to that guy, not killing everyone. So that's, and again, it like, you guys are old enough to know, you've seen it. Like people bitch, people will bitch. I hate bars. It's stupid. It's like, all right, then find a fucking solution. And you guys did that. And that's like, push comes to shove, you guys found a solution. And whether you intended for it to be that or not, it's become a solution. And now you guys are expanding on it. So like heading out and pushing it into the community and getting it out there for people to do, like, what do you guys think? What are the greatest advantage of the app for coaches out there, or even athletes? Like, I think it can be used for both. Definitely, obviously, coaches find it quite advantageous. What do you guys think, like, this data can do in regards to like helping them, being user friendly to people that maybe aren't good at like looking at data, stuff like that? How can they get a lot out of the app?
Nate, you want to take?
You want to go or me? Okay.
You got it.
I mean, from an athlete perspective, I feel like there's like, getting to see kind of your chart over time, like how that curve is going, and obviously how when you start, all of those things make a huge difference. But like being able to see how that looks over time, what are you like, oh, am I missing my opener a ton? Like, is that like going backwards from that? Am I just picking the wrong weight? Is it something mental? Like what, trying to go and see something in, it's easy to like, you do a meet and there's plenty of like circumstances that happen at every meet that might make you more or less likely to miss. But like, if you have 10 meets in a row where you miss your, most of them, you miss your opener or one of your first two attempts, that's like potentially like something that you need to try to address with your training or with your mindset, whatever you're, doing. I think it's all in one place. Like, it's really hard to find that in bars, to actually see like what, if you're not writing down exactly what your attempts were and what you did, to actually have like a pretty clear history of your competitions and how they've gone and things like that. I think you want from coach's perspective too?
Yeah, but to piggyback off the athlete thing, I think actually what you just said at the end of that, to see. Because that's one thing that I've had to do manually as a coach, and that's because my mentors taught me that, is like numbers, and this is like a little bit off, and I'm going to bring it back, but like, you guys are coaches, you understand. All these apps and everything for people like logging their lifts and shit, like we use Train Heroic, right? Before that, it's great as a gym, but kick it back to old school writing in a notebook. When you have a notebook and you're sitting there and you have maybe 5 sets of 2 at 80% for snatches and you're grinding through that shit, and you are either writing in that pen and pencil a check or a fucking X because you failed it, and you have to walk back to that notebook and draw another fucking X and then draw another fucking X versus this, bloop, and you just put your phone down because you missed it. There is a physical to psychological element to that. And my mentors, and it was really Ivan Rojas, who was one of my coaches, if you know who that is, like from Risto Sports, like putting my lifts on a chart and showing me success and failure in my lifts and showing me my percent of makes and stuff like that. You guys take the visual that bars doesn't do. And what I had to do manually of showing after I would go into bars, grab all their numbers, put it in Excel, and then go to my athlete and be like, listen, bonehead, you are making progress. Here's your numbers.
Yeah.
I know it feels like shit, right? We're all coaches. I'm not making progress. Like, what do you fucking mean you're not making progress?
Right.
You're up 7% in your total in 6 months. You're doing great. I think we could all agree 7% in 6 months is solid.
We would all three of us would murder.
Would love that.
7%.
Yeah, right? And it's
Total
like, chill,
increase,
chill, Johnny. You're doing fine. Or it's like, listen, we keep having this argument about you wanting to take these jumps and you only jump 5 kilos because Nate, like you were saying, like, I'm a man, I jump 5 kilos. Like, it's not working for you, dude. No. I'm done playing this game. We're going to make smaller jumps so we can make more lifts, because look what happens after your opener. And you can visualize it. And you guys do that. Your app easily visualizes that I don't need to do all this work now. And an athlete can sit there and scatter plot it and see it right away. And I think that's super crucial.
Appreciate that.
And it also shows, hey, if you only have 2 meets, maybe you don't have enough fucking data to actually say whether you're a good competitor or not.
Right.
I've even pulled that card on people. Like, we can talk about your competition skill when you have 5 meets.
Yeah, let's keep going. Yeah. I want to echo what you said of, it's easy for an athlete to bomb out or miss an opener, and just that becomes the world, that terrible weekend, that terrible meet experience, especially if they've been competing for a while and this is a big part of their identity, a big part of their life. Being able to zoom out, like you were saying, and see, like, this is one dot in a big career, and it's mostly up and to the right. So let's take a step back and reevaluate.
Even that, if you go down in weight classes, even if you adjust weight classes, you're able to, okay, cool. You were 2 weight classes up, right? And you went up, and I'm literally talking about Nate, that person we were talking about before this, went down 3 weight classes from where he was, right? All his numbers went like this, then he goes down, and now all the numbers are going back up. It's like, okay, now you can visualize that.
Right.
You're at a different weight class.
Yeah, it should be different.
But that's how it works. Now you got to start building again.
Yeah.
And that's just huge. And I think as an athlete, that's a huge quintessential part of what this app can show people, is the visualization part. So then the coaches aspect, continuing on, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I mean, I think from like how I personally used it, like in the back room, normally, depending on where my athlete or person I'm coaching's at, beginning, end, you could follow all of the people, but there's usually just like a couple of people that you kind of want to hone in on to get your count right. And, getting that idea of like, okay, what's the best they've done? So that, like, around, obviously, like, most people, if you follow them on Instagram or, see their lifts, a lot of people aren't posting those heavy lifts before competitions, or maybe they are. You don't get any of the context of, like, he could have missed 3 times, or he could have, you have zero of that information. Whereas, like, the meet data, like, meets are always going to be some sort of, like, there's like an extra time element. It's not a max out session. It's a weightlifting meet, and seeing someone's results in that is a lot more, I would say, telling of what they're going to do in another meet. So you can, see what their best lifts are, what their, like, percentage of makes are. Okay, this person is their best lifts, 150. So their opener at 130 or whatever is 135 is, like, probably a lie. So then you can try to adjust your account,
off of that.
accordingly, or, you can, like, start to tell yourself a story of, like, okay, they're about 180 or whatever their best clean and jerk is, and you can kind of follow them as they're warming up, and you can go, okay, this looks like they're setting up to open here or whatever. So I'm going to try to go use that, like, the make miss percentage to the best of my ability, and then go backwards from there and go, okay, it's about 2 attempts, get a better picture of what my count actually is, to set my athlete up to have, like, ideal rest before their opener, second, whatever attempt.
Yeah. Yeah. And the doubling back to like what I was really having to like withhold, not cutting you off earlier with your, where we were talking about like reach is, like Tracy, my other coach at the gym, she's always like been entertained that like, cause again, you guys have been at, like you start to learn who does what coaches. Like we can all probably sit here and be like, we know how, like just throwing out random coaches. We know how like
one.
Who?
Camargo's. I know
the Camargo
jumps
jump. I was going to say the
we
same
call
thing.
him the Camargo
we
jump,
know.
and it's a compliment because
yeah,
unlike the people who just go 5 and 10, like let it rip, he's very diligent. 2 or 3 kilos, and oftentimes his athletes are going 6 for 6, 5 for 6, but it's typically smaller jumps than everyone else. And
exactly,
but we also why he has the homework of what. And
then we also know like Doherty and like Doherty's proteges, they always put low numbers in for entries.
Yep.
And then they always jump from that entry total. If it's like an A session or B session lifter.
Yeah.
They usually, most of the time, they always jump from there. So like, and then, you got Dane's athletes, they do a certain thing usually. And then you've got, other coaches, they have their things. And like, as you do the sport long enough, like I was saying, like Tracy's always entertained because I've been doing it. And she's like, I'll sit there and I'll be like, all right, that's Walt. Walt's going to probably do this. Like that's blah, blah, blah. They're going to do this. And she's like, how the fuck do you remember all this shit? Like, cause I've been doing it fucking 17 years. Like it's a long time now. Like it's all in my fucking head. And if they start doing random shit, I will be fucked. But like, but the app, because now the app like shows all that, you can literally search that athlete and be like, okay, well, it shows they're opening at 150, but like, why is their entry, like, why is it their last lift, their first lift was 160? That doesn't even make sense. So like, clearly I can tell unless they're hurt, but they don't look very hurt. That's a lie. So I can adjust my count. And then also, like you said, the reach, like you can now really tell like, okay, I don't need to sit there and be like, oh, Danny jumps by 2s or 3s. It's on there. The data's on there.
Well, I think too, the idea with that is like to a point that like third attempt doesn't matter. Cause like if they use their changes, they're to that point, they're not going to like, they can't do anything to like screw up your later attempts. They're either going to attempt the weight they said they were, or they're going to not. So like you just kind of really need to hone in on like, what are the behaviors first between going into first attempt, between first and second, and then from there. So then like the reach kind of accommodates for them maybe taking a jump that they shouldn't or something like that, rather than like, all right, doesn't matter if the third attempt ends up being a make or a miss because the count's there.
Yep. What do you think is like the biggest thing that like athletes can use the app to like develop or track their own growth for athletes specific?
I mean, I'll echo what you said before. The visualization, I think, is key. I mean, I'm with you, like pen and paper for logging the day to day, but there's never an easy way to, I mean, often people in the opening cover will log their PRs or something like that, but you're not going to hand draw out a chart or something like this. But this is a good way to kind of just zoom out, get the macro on your weightlifting career as it relates to competitions. But I think it's just at the end of the day, kind of a source of truth. Like it's not going to lie. Like this is what you've done. This is what you've done in the sport. So whatever narrative is in your head about positive or negative, you can just kind of reset on, here are the numbers. Okay. I need to work on this. Like clearly I've been missing my openers. Maybe I need to reset, go a little bit lower. I think another thing too is being able to, like, we have the watch list thing. So you can kind of, especially if you're training with a group or you have a team or you're, like Nate was on these national teams for a few years with the same crew of dudes, you can kind of track like where are we all at? And then like, oh, like so-and-so put a bunch on his total. And, it doesn't have to all be like external motivation, but it is nice to see kind of where you're at in those little cohorts.
Yep. I think, one hidden thing that I've done, and I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to call anyone out, but I actually used it to show an athlete, a female that ended up going up a weight class. that had
that's great.
continuously
cool.
tried to stay down, and watching misses, and then like they went up, and I was able to show the chart and be like, listen, the consistency, and because I know this person, just like their fucking headspace and their performance went up after they finally stopped trying to go down. And I used that visualization to show them like, yeah, there was a lull for a little bit, and then
their career
life got better and easier. And like, so I actually used it for that too, as well, for an athlete.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
You can use it to also cross compare athletes and sit there and be like, listen, like because you could take somebody like with a career of 10 years and be like, listen, they were at your level too, man. You need to just be patient, wait it out. Like, you're only 15, 16. Like, Nate was only 15, 16 at one point too. Like, look at, he was snatching this number. He had to wait it out and work it out. So like, just do the same thing. As long as it steadily trends upward, it's okay. There's unless there's like some black swan event in your life, like it should steadily continue up.
Yeah. No, that's great. Using that for those kind of individual case studies in a really healthy way, not just like, comparing like what could have been, but like, here's how this.
Well, that's what this fucking device is, the devil, right? Like everyone just goes on Instagram. I'm not good enough because John did it. And John was fucking hatched from a test tube last week, and he's just amazing according to Instagram, and I suck because I've been doing it for 5 years.
Right.
That's what this phone tells us the story of, versus the app can actually be like, hey, John fucking only snatched like 90 3 years ago, and he's worked his ass off for 3 years. That's why he does this now.
Yeah. And reminding people of, body weights, like you were saying, and whether it's the same person or if you're comparing someone and you're not in the same weight class. I mean, these sort of things, just, it's a good, healthy reality check.
Oh, fuck. That's actually a good question. What happens if/when the weight classes all change?
Oh, yeah.
Did I just uncover a dirty egg in the nest?
Well, there's
the 85.
We already had one weight class change in the data set. So if you go onto an athlete's page, it'll say, here's all the weight classes they've competed in. Because it's the same whether the meet was in 2012 and it's 85s, 94s, whatever. It's the same field name as now. So it's just a different set of numbers. So as long as we know that these are all the possible values for the weight class, could be the old values, could be the new values.
Yeah.
Then those just get plugged in, and it'll just say like, Nate's competed as an 80, 85, 94, 96. And then within each meet card on the athlete page, you can see, and this was blanking on his name, it's killing me, but the Keep Pulling coach, this was his idea, is putting their weight class for that meet right there. So like, when he was announcing at one of the meets, being able to say, so-and-so did this at this meet and they weighed this and they competed in this class. So that's sort of how we'll handle it.
When I commentate on like the YouTube feed, Lift Oracle's on my phone, and I think I've showed like 7 people your app just because they're like sitting there trying to take notes. I'm like, no, just go this way. It'll be way easier to search these people. Way easier to like do really quick lookups on people's numbers when we're commentating and announcing.
That's awesome. Yeah, so it's no problem. It'll just kind of feed in.
Yeah.
I think too,
if/when they change.
I would say like another point too is like we're trying to add more stuff to this and keep kind of developing it. So like if there's
we're heading next to the future. Yeah. Tell us about the future of the project, man, because I see a bunch of things on here.
Yeah, so I think like we're trying to listen to like, all right, what do people want? What would an athlete like? We can kind of theory out what people might want and what I might use it for as an athlete and a coach, but like would love to hear like what other people would want to see chart wise, things like that, and how it could grow to like help people, this community. So
yeah, it's at the point where, we like Nate said, we've built out a lot of things that we believe are useful. Others like yourself believe are useful. But now other people want to hear from other people, like what do they want to see next, that kind of thing. But I also think we do have ideas. I kind of broadly bucket them in two ways, like vertical integration, like more stats, more coaching tools, that kind of thing, or even horizontal type integrations where, okay, we have this kind of destination for weightlifting coaches, weightlifting athletes. What else is useful to that audience? So another idea that we have that we're kind of like workshopping now is like a coaching board. So there's a lot of kind of remote coaching on Instagram or nutrition coaching, like that. And it's tough to kind of figure out what the quality is behind all that. And so we have an idea of kind of putting together, like, you know, you've seen like a job board before, but you can put up like, have coaches and kind of get like verified reviews of athletes. They can be anonymous or not or whatever, and just have them there. And then also like for weightlifting or nutrition. And then another idea Nate had recently was kind of extend that to, if you're an athlete at a local meet and you do have a remote coach and that coach can't come to account for you, kind of put like almost like a Craigslist type personals ad, like, you know, lifter looking for meet coach in Savannah, Georgia or whatever, like this weekend. And someone's like, oh, I'm there. Like, we're going to be there with our athletes. Like, you can link up with us. So kind of putting together a platform for weightlifting adjacent things like that. But
I saw the remote coach board. My wife, when I was telling her, she was like, so like a rate my professor for coaches. I was like, I guess. I was like, she's like, that could get really ugly real fast. I was like, I think they're gonna. It would be
pretty curated.
She's like, how many good professors were there that got just slaughtered because their students were lazy?
Yeah. And, you know, this is still in the idea phase, but that would be something that would be like heavily.
John gives out 10s for squats.
He's right. Yeah, stay away. Too much volume. But yeah, so we'll see where that goes. We got the idea for that one by there's a site called Nomad List for like digital nomads, and it kind of ranks different cities for working remotely and on a bunch of different qualities, and it has like stars and things like that. And so there's sort of the same. That was sort of like the next, like the idea, the kernel of.
I think to piggyback off that, and I mean, I should have just texted in the group chat we had, is like honestly a gym finder. There's no effective.
It's one that's interesting.
There isn't one.
I thought about. It's nice that you say that. It's kind of validating because I thought like, okay, like. Are people looking for gyms? I mean, I used to be able to find. I mean, I still get, even though the numbers change, like I'll still get random calls or something from someone looking for a weightlifting club because it's in some directory on the USA Weightlifting website. So
again, I don't even know if it would need to be like a club, like if any gym, like
do they accept drop-ins?
Canton has Olympic weightlifting equipment, they maybe could just email you guys to be like, please add us. We have Olympic weightlifting gear. Because
it's kind of lead gen for that.
Yeah, athletes are like, I'm going to Tulsa. Do you know any gyms that have Olympic weightlifting clubs? I was like, I don't know, but then I could be like, go to this website. They'll at least tell you what gyms have Olympic weightlifting equipment.
Yeah, no, I like that. I thought about that and wasn't sure how.
I'm not doing any of the work, so I'm just coming up.
Because I would
thanks, man, that's 70 hours of fucking coding. Thanks.
It's all sorts of good ideas. And we're kind of plugging this in on the side here for both of us too. Like Nate coaches full time, I work full time. But it's good to have ideas to pull on when we need to.
And I see in the notes you guys got like over here. I'm on the page over here. We're gonna bring up the page in a couple of minutes. But like you guys, the core features of Lift Oracle remain free forever, which I think is super important. You have the historical results, you have competition results, build session watch list to compare athletes head to head, basic statistics by athlete, competition and beyond, remote coach board like we were just talking on, coming soon, international competition results and statistics. That one I'm super curious for, and I think I had either had Julie reach out to you guys or I had talked to you, Nate, maybe. Like obviously, like with me working for USACA and my bosses over there, like I could probably like sync you up with Japan next week, like however we need to do that if you want those. Because I mean, I think that's super cool if you can sit there. Because like for example, I have a young lady who's 13, but her parents are Peruvian. So like she has the ability to lift under Peru. And I also have another a young lady. She's in her late 20s, but we'll call her young lady.
Sure.
She's Peruvian, has Peruvian citizenship. So we're even looking at her potentially lifting, representing Peru eventually. But
that's cool.
Finding those numbers and like finding, okay, well, we're nationals. Like I literally had to like DM like Jose Quinones, like the head of the Pan American Federation, who was like the head of Peru, be like, can I get those numbers? And like, I'm bothering people that are like probably way too like high up to be bothering about. But like, I also don't know anyone in Peru to get these numbers from. So that's how I'm only getting them. So this might be a good way for athletes like that to actually be getting and seeing statistics and numbers out of other countries. Or just nerds that are weightlifting nerds and want to see like what are the numbers. Also you have like the blacklist zones like Russia, because I know I still try to find those numbers out of the meets and have a couple contacts where like, okay, I know the meets are going on there, so I still DM them and I'm like, hey,
I want to know what's going on in the Russian Cup.
Send me the list because I want to know. And like those athletes will send me the list and I get to see the totals. I'm like,
sure,
okay. Sure.
It's pretty big totals.
Thank you. That 13-year-old's amazing. Yeah. But you know, and then you guys you guys had a bunch of other stuff here coming. You know, automated meet coaching cards, those will be super important, I'm sure, for a lot of people. Because even like we were just saying, like if you can't make a meet for your athlete, you can type up a card and send it to somebody, which is super important, I think. Build and save a limited watch list. Like you were saying, you know, Nate, when he was on the international team, like I have Logan, for example, who we're always tracking like other athletes. You know, it's super easy. Hampton, he'll be first. And then everyone else, everyone else we have to track. So like we're constantly playing the numbers because that NRS number is always fidgeting around. Yes. So we're able to sit there and track it, you know, the advanced athlete statistics. What's under that, like the advanced athlete statistics?
I think immediately we have some indicators and stuff built in that we just haven't done anything with yet. Still probably requires some research and creativity, but things like we have it broken out where for every attempt, we know like conditionally what happens next. So did they make their opener and then go on to like miss their second? Did they and then did they make and like what's the next behavior going to be? Like, did they make it and go up? Did they make it and repeat? We can track some of that. I think it gets a little bit lower signal when you're looking at an individual athlete for that kind of thing, unless they have 10 meets, 20 meets, something like that. But I think it gets valuable when you start to roll things up at the weight class or gender level, to know that, okay, I'm coaching in a 96K session. It's clean and jerk, you know, certain percentage of, I'm looking at the board, a certain percentage of these people are going to miss their opener. What then, if I'm counting, I need to know, like, are they going to go up or are they like, what's the next likely behavior going to be? Are they going to go up or are they going to stay the same? So that's something that we have the data for now, but I think the execution on what to do with that is still something that we're noodling with. And then, you know, it's kind of open-ended. I mean, that's like the real creative part behind this, is trying to figure out what's useful and hopefully getting some feedback from more coaches of what are pain points in counting for a meet, coaching for athletes that would be solved or aided with data.
I'm going to go ahead and log in here. I think the first time I've logged in on this browser actually. So,
hopefully it works.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I remember my shit is more the key here.
If not, I think I'm logged in too, so I don't know how sharing works. I can pull it up. Nate, what about you? Do you have anything to add on stats wise? What we want to do there? Any ideas that you have?
I mean, I feel like it's just trying to keep incrementally expanding, and as people give us ideas or we come up with ideas or, you know, try to do something, and, you know, other ideas come as you investigate certain things. Yeah.
Are you guys gonna do anything with clubs? Like looking at like, because that was one thing I was really curious on. Like, can I break apart like my athletes as a club to see like, as a club, does 4-star make their openers? Do they make their opener clean and jerks? What is our make miss ratio as our third attempts? Like stuff like that.
Currently, no.
Yeah, it's the most annoying part of the bars data, in my opinion. Is
sorry.
No, this is good. Let's talk about it. When you're looking up a start list for like a national meet or anything, they have USAWID, clubs, all birth year, all that stuff. On the results side of bars, you get no like unique identifier for the person, so no USAWID, and you get no club information.
Oh, that's interesting.
At least in the like public facing website that we're using, I think there's, and that's another area there's a whole another area of development for this that's like unsexy, and that's sort of like data quality, data integrity, things like that. Making sure we're kind of improving the percentage of meets we can add to the database to the best of our ability of what's in bars and that kind of thing. I know like right now I messaged with a coach because one of his athletes has like a common name, and there's no I don't have a solution right now on the back end for taking apart two different people with the same name, because they don't have like that would be solved instantly with the USAWID in the person's meet data, but we don't have that. So you just kind of have to like put people together, because even if you want to say, okay, is it unique by the person in weight class? Well, no, people change weight classes sometimes very dramatically over the course of their career, so you can't key on that either. So those are some of the biggest limitations right now, clubs, and actually making sure that everyone's unique. Luckily, I mean, I haven't done any math on this, but there's no way to really know, but the percentage of people impacted by having to share a Lift Oracle page because they have the same name as someone else is pretty small.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there'd be like no solution long term for that, even if you did split up their data at the moment, because there's nothing changed from USA Weightlifting's website.
Yeah. So
right. Reset my password. Let's see if I can get this.
Oh my gosh, this is live to see if our.
I mean, it allowed me to reset my password.
This is good.
It's more like the app is working perfectly fine. This is all on me, by the way, not you guys.
No, it's okay. We're neither of us are full-time developers, so this is a fun learning experience for both of us, and all the different aspects of what we thought we knew, and then all the stuff that we didn't know that we needed to know in terms of like all the unsexy stuff of building it, like resetting passwords and.
All right, we're good.
All
right, so we're gonna. Those of you, like I said, the 3 viewers that watch, we appreciate your patience.
Yeah, you're the real MVPs.
All right, so we should be good here, right? We see everything?
Yeah, I see everything.
All right, we're going to ignore all my degenerate crypto things at the top.
This is a safe space.
Yeah, we'll just ignore all that, and I should figure out how to probably find a window where that doesn't show.
You can't have any keys showing.
Yeah, no keys, just all my farms and other degenerate things. Okay. All right, so this is the front end, guys, when you log in. So this is like the athlete's name. So this is the trending. You have the tabs up here. Those of you that are joining or watching, you have lifters, watch list, query, about, and merch. Then you have your account information. All right. Mm-hmm. So like if we go in here, right at the homepage, you have the Oracle, then their little blurb that they have. The Oracle is the guy we were talking about here first. This needs to be on a hoodie, by the way.
Would love that.
The mug, we'll do a light. Yeah, the mug was the dipping the toe in the water for merch for this. So
yeah,
we'll do.
Yeah, for the podcast, I'm doing merch, and it's like I don't expect like huge merch sales, but I'm doing it if people want to like support it. By the way, that's just dropping right now. Exclusive content. Oh my god.
Yes.
Just
your reward for making it this far in.
Yeah. I've done 27 episodes, so
it's time.
If you'd like to support my time, go ahead, get it.
Tough lift.
But I mean, I like this because it's like it's all pixelated. It's gamer. I feel like I'm playing fucking Final Fantasy 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, preteen Final Fantasy for sure.
Exactly. I wanna wear this on the back of the hoodie, dude.
Yeah.
So so we got all that. So let's go ahead. Let's run through some stuff. So let's look up. Who should I harass? Which lifter should I harass here?
Let's look up Nate. Let's give him his flowers. Search Nate.
Nate, are you under Nate or Nathan?
I'm Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan.
Boom.
There he is.
All right, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna let you guys kind of steer the ship here.
Yeah. So if you're not watching on YouTube and you're listening to this is going to be very tough. But I'll do my best.
Down from the road because Spotify now has the video feature.
Oh, this is great. Yeah.
Don't pay attention to the road and look at the fucking phone. You'll be fine.
Yeah, just put. Hopefully,
pretend it's TikTok.
Yeah. So what we have at the top, you've got a series of charts. The first chart is going to look at all of your results over time and then have all your makes and misses, snatch, clean and jerk, and your totals. In the upper left there, you can kind of filter it down if you want to go look at just your clean and jerk history, just your snatch history. And that's going to plot all of your makes and misses at all of your meets, local, national, international, over time. And yes, if you hover over your dots, you can see what the meet was. And it'll have your weights, your total. And then underneath that, you're going to have 3 different cards. The first one's just the summary stats, best snatch, best clean and jerk, best total, best Sinclair. The middle is going to have all of your, like a line item inventory of all of your different meet results over time, most recent to oldest. So you'll have the snatch, clean and jerk and total from that meet, what body weight you competed at, and then also the weight class. So you can see how close or how far away Nate was from hitting the limiters on some of these weight classes. I'll just do a tangent. If you go to Arnold in what was that 2015 or 16, Nate? What did you go to bed at the night before you competed? Do you remember?
It was like 88 something.
Yeah, so this is when he was competing.
Like
he was in 85. Yeah, I don't know. But basically he went to bed at 88.5, and it was the first time he had never had any problems with weight up to this point. And he went to bed 88.5, and we were both just like, see what happens, turn the heat on. But at this point, that's a lot to do anything about. You don't want to be too extreme and then just destroy your legs or anything like that.
Yeah.
And he woke up and weighed in like half a kilo under.
It was like 84 or something.
Yeah, it was the most insane night of metabolism I've ever.
I had that. The hotel room was hot.
Yeah, it was cooking.
Yeah.
It did not smell good
my friend
coming
hated
at you
me for that.
Yeah,
that happens, man. Some of these teenagers. How old were you, Nate? Because some of these teenagers do that shit all the time.
22.
Yeah,
I was just done being a junior.
Yeah. So for males that age, you guys do that shit. You're just fucking like, all right, bye,
cooking
and then they
off
wither
weight.
away at night.
Yeah, just the furnace.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have your meet history there, and then on the far right, we've got some little insights. So what weight classes you competed at?
This is the best for people that have been in the sport for a long time. This is usually the best category because you can see them be in every weight class.
Yeah, like a Travis Cooper or someone, 77 to 105 or something like that.
I think Reeves is like that too, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I always get all these youth categories.
Yeah, youth all the way up. Yeah. Just basic stuff. What's your make and miss percentages on snatch, clean and jerk, and then overall? And then we do have some kind of advanced stats that are behind our pro paywall that are for more geared towards coaches, but still great to see if you're an athlete too. Are you making your openers and then your average reach? So if you're counting against this person or counting for this person, you kind of know, like, based on where they're open at, where they're likely to end up. And then you can kind of count around that accordingly. So you don't have to guess like, is this person good for 3 attempts before my lifter goes, or are they probably only going to have 1 or 2. So that's really the nexus behind that. And all of our new development in terms of advanced stats will kind of go into that area. But we also want to keep rolling out more stuff for the basic stats too, potentially over time.
Yeah, Nate, you're so we kind of like we have this vision with Nate being like kind of the same size. I'll pull up one of mine.
Yeah, do it. Let's see.
Lifters. I have two that I've kind of coached since they were little, so I'll pull up the first one. First one, female Brianna Leverins. I've coached her since she was like 14. So you can
look at that, see, like, up and to the right,
little age. So it's kind of just growing, you know. So you see that nice visual, and again, it is like a stock chart, you know. It's not perfectly up and to the right.
Yeah.
You can see the misses along the way, stuff like that, and then you get to see that nice miss rate.
Look at that clean and jerk opener make rate, 91%. That's good.
Yeah,
so what I would give for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, to brag about this whole family. I'm not even kidding. This whole family is good at the jerk. It's wild.
Surgical with that clean and jerk.
Yeah, and then
so I can blame my dad for my jerk.
Another,
yeah, it's genetics.
Another would be like Logan is another young one that I've coached since he was younger, so you get even a bigger spread because he's now moving up weight classes.
Oh yeah, look, that's one of the most I've seen.
Puberty is fun, right?
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weight classes there. And again, good make rates here, but that reach.
Look at that 100% opener make. Yeah, good job, coach. Look at those.
So the reach is really cool. I like seeing that because that again allows me to continue to make that decision. Is really what it allows me to do as a coach. Versus like, I mean, I'll even throw my own ass on here. I don't care. Like, I'm not a good competitor. I literally, one of my favorite stories is like I stopped competing like mentally. Like once I was like done with CrossFit regionals and like being in the military, everything's alpha male all the time. Like
you're like
on the SF route that I tried to do. Like it's just alpha. I burned out real hard on that with CrossFit. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna lift and enjoy it. Like I was competitive a little bit, but like I literally gave an attempt to an athlete because they missed their opener. So like I burned my own clock once to give them
because you had
to give them more rest and like that. Like that's just my mentality on that shit. Yeah. But like you can see, you know, like my reach, like
yes, look at this. Wow, there must be a big one in there for that average to get.
Yeah, so that is outstanding, and I wanted to show you guys that.
Oh, you knew this was yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to show you guys that, and if I remember right, so I used to fucking drive Pedro insane. What I would do is I always tried to get out of these meets to get Sunday flight homes.
Oh yeah, okay. Sure.
So I would purposely sink my entry total to get in like the B session of like a 105.
Like a Saturday night session or something.
And I would just jump my entry total like wild after I made my first lift.
Yeah, there we go. So it's like
so I fucking screwed your system over in that remote sense. So somebody looks at this and is like
this is
I remember seeing this, but I was like, I have to show these guys. So you better look out. Anyone that competes against me, I'll be making a 26 kilo jump. On
no one knows what's going to happen. Yeah,
just going for the world record.
Yeah,
it's like it reminds me of when Murati did like He had to participate in like an international meet, so he weighed in at Pan Am's or something.
Yeah,
did like just phoned in like a quick.
But this is like, you know, it's a good representation of me because I like because like. By the time clean and jerks get around, it's like I've coached all weekend and I've probably coached fucking 15 to 20 athletes all weekend. Yeah. And I'm ready to go home, honestly.
Yeah, legs are toasty.
Like, I probably just don't give a shit about that third attempt, unfortunately. So that's a good representation of that. But it's super cool being able to see my own numbers. And, you know, these are gone. These weight classes for myself are gone. And for myself, like it's going to now be interesting seeing these numbers drop as I compete because I plan on like, I don't know, man, I might be an 89 now. We'll see where this buck keeps going, but I'm curious to see how this chart looks and being able to look at that and visualize it. Like I was saying earlier, is going to be really interesting as an athlete.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, let's see. Am I going to get back to this, this 160, 155 range?
Yeah.
In my late 30s.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting and cool to watch. But, some of the other features you guys have here to kind of round out the episode, we have, some other cool stuff if you want to walk us through.
Yeah. So what Matt just clicked on is it's our upcoming meet widget. So it's one of our newest features. And basically what this does, it kind of lays out card style, like, coach's table style, all the athletes that have registered for an upcoming national meet to this point. And we refresh these periodically. We'll run our program, get the new information from the USA Weightlifting website. But then you can look at each athlete and see what their entry total is, what club they're with, and also what the ratio is. We tie this back to their actual results. So what's the ratio between their entry total and their max total? So you can kind of infer from that, like, okay, this person's probably sandbagging their opener a little bit. And then based on weight class, you can kind of, if you're a coach, you have an athlete, all in one session, you can just bulk add, okay, I want to watch all these athletes. Have them all on one page, save that. So when you go to coach your session, you can just pull up your watch list and kind of do that. And then if you go to recent meets, pick one. Wisconsin Spring Open.
Nice.
Shout out to Milwaukee Barbell. We had a good showing there, coached by Nate, Jesse, and others. Meet pages are great. You start with men and women, both on the same page, looking at totals, against their body weight. You can then filter by men, by gender to get different charts. And then we get our top 10 Sinclair totals for each gender. And then the insights below that, similar to the athlete page, kind of the number of athletes who competed in the meet, what the overall make rates were, the average reach for each gender, that kind of thing. And I think one broad thing I know I want to expand is kind of what we're serving on the meet page in terms of information. I think this could get more interesting, more useful, but this is just kind of like a current snapshot of what happened at the meet.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is really, really helpful to be able to come back and look at this type of stuff, post meet results.
Yeah.
So this type of stuff is really really informational. I think it's, again, like we were talking, athletes being able to look across the board, look at other competitions. I'm always trying to get these, again, the phone is such a double-edged sword, man. Being able to sit there and look and see what else is out there, not just what's on that little brick of only good lifts.
Yeah.
I think this kind of shows that other side. Look, people are making and missing. People are developing over time. People are having to take time to grow. And it really helps with that as a coach as well.
Yeah,
so
totally visualizing the journey.
Yeah. So that's really all I have on my end. Is there anything else you guys wanted to show off on the site? Obviously, besides this sick ass mug you guys can get.
Yeah, we'll show light
from the wizard.
Light show of the merch. We got a mug right now. It's got a QR code on the back, and that link just takes you to the Milwaukee Barbell shop. That's our club. But yeah, we're excited to continue building this out, and really grateful for this conversation. It's fun talking.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome, guys. I'm sure the three of us could probably just talk data nonsense for many hours. But I'm excited to see this grow. I know my coaches at the gym use this actively. I continue to try to push it. Some of the athletes have it on their phones. They've enjoyed using it.
Nice.
At meets, I've even seen them telling their parents, because their parents are like, well, what about that one? It's then they literally have their mom tapping, okay, typing in the name, okay, I think Johnny's gonna beat that one, and stuff like that.
Yes.
So that's cool to see. But it's a great app. I recommend all you guys that are out there in the weightlifting world download it, check it out. If you're looking for that deeper dive into it, it's super cheap. It's more than affordable. I like how you guys peg it to what the latte, a weekly latte, you might actually be undervaluing it, because lattes are $7 now. Guys, where can they find this? Obviously online, website, and then where can they find you guys on social media to find Nate's very boring, non-skilled career, and then Murph, where can they find you and your gym and all that stuff?
Yeah, so
at Milwaukee Barbell.
Yeah, at MKE Barbell is the weightlifting club, MilwaukeeBarbell.com. The app is Lift Oracle, liftoracle.com. Lift Oracle on IG, where you can track. We put up little dev notes here or there. We call them updates, features, tutorials, stuff we're working on, little features. So that's where you can keep track of kind of our progress as we build this out. It's also where, if you the easiest way, if you have ideas or feedback, shoot us a DM on there. We don't, maybe not the most responsive people on IG or on that account, but if you DM us on there, we will see it. We'll be able to answer it. And that's, the MK Barbell is our club's page. Nate's not really big on social. Yeah, but if you go back, if you scroll back, if you give the thumb a workout, go back a few years on the MK Barbell page, there's plenty of Nate's demo content. He's also, you do have a page, NSTEMO85. There's some good.
I can't log into it.
Oh yeah,
I think the most recent Nate material I saw was something about a haircut.
Yeah, and that clearly was not recent.
You got a matching haircut.
Oh yeah, that was yeah. So yeah, and then there's no interesting weightlifting content really on my Instagram, so I won't shill that. We'll keep the shills to the club and the app. But you can most of the data is free, almost all of it. Like checking your basic stats, checking your charts. We have some advanced stuff if you want to help support future development, unlock some new features. We have a pro tier for that. Also can really easily add it to your home screen. So basically it works just like an app. So you don't have to type it in every time. Just smash the button, go get your stats. But yeah, this was great. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Right there.
Yeah, look at that.
Let's go.
All right, guys, this has been awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. And I hope to see this continue growing.
Cheers, man.
Thanks again.
All right, have a good day, guys.
Later.